creating these stories for the screen and these worlds, the world of
That's Britt
Thomas
Allcroft.
on the island of Sodor and the world of Shining Time in the Indian Valley, is that the stories of what happens will help to give children, not in some heavy way, but what I think are the 4 emotional tools for childhood: comfort and fun and inspiration and resilience. And I think that is very, very important to protect, whatever age you are.
At that time, Thomas programming on TV was everywhere. And you'd hear that song. Dun, 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 dun,
Wait,
dun,
it has a picture.
and I love the naivete of it. I love the innocence of it. I thought it was really I love the simplicity of it.
And it was Barry London, who was then vice chairman of Paramount Pictures, who had a little girl who was just nuts about Shining Time and about Thomas. And he came to see me in New York and he said, "Have you ever thought about making a movie?" And I said no, that I hadn't, because the stories, these mini feature films, seemed to me to be perfect in their own right. And he said, "I think you should make a movie."
Diesel knows that the lost engine in the legend really exists.
What engine? What legend?
Of an engine whose magic makes her more powerful than Diesel will ever be.
When Polygram Filmed Entertainment picked it up, said, "We're going to get behind this with you," I had a best part of the year in which I wrote very much the story that would finally appear on the screen, and inspired by this little girl who had written a letter saying, "Thomas, please will you come and stay at my house," which was roughly it. And she defied a lot of those who before Thomas ever went up on the screen said, "Oh, only boys are going to be interested in this." And I said, "No, girls will be as well." And as a mother, I felt that I would love a story which would be told by a mother to her children about something that happened to her when she was a little girl. It all began one rainy day in the big city, just before your uncle was born, and I was going to stay with Grandpa. Another influence was in doing research for the story. I felt I needed some endorsement, and we went to two classes in New York of children, and it was remarkable how many of the children in those age groups said over and over again, because they were asked what makes you happy and what makes you sad, their grandparents came into how they responded to it. That either they longed to see more of their grandparents, or they longed to make their grandfather or their grandmother happy again for exactly the reasons that I started writing about in this story.
Grandpa's been so sad since Grandma Tasha died, and he never comes here to see us.
Well, maybe your visit would cheer him up.
When it came to the actors who were going to be involved in casting, we had a storyteller for Thomas in the UK, and we had a storyteller for Thomas in the US. Alec Baldwin became storyteller for Thomas, and we just had the best time together. Loved working with him.
Toolkit, check. Ticket puncher, check, check. Aye. All aboard! Just testing, Billy.
It's easier to give some very admonishing speech in a courtroom or what have you than it is to be a protagonist in a children's fantasy film, and to keep it warm and simple and to have a positive lilt in everything you say. What I said to myself was, you can go too far, and I'm sure some would argue I went too far, but I do come from that mindset where you're sitting there going, what time is it, Bob? You know, you just keep everything you say. What time is it?
Stacy, where did you find this painting?
In an old locker. It was done by Burnett Stone when he was a child. I was told that he used to work on this railroad, but he never leaves the other side of the mountain now.
Dee Con, that was sort of an easy fit because she played Stacy in the Shining Time TV series. Lily, of course, who would play Lily, and Mara was recommended to me. She had just lost her mum. And she said yes. She was just, I think, incredibly professional.
Lily is a little girl that lives in a big city, you know, with her parents, and she goes to visit her grandpa, and he's very, you know, he's very quiet and keeps to himself.
When she was younger.
Everybody's very quiet, and she doesn't like that.
I just had such a clear idea of who this man was and what it felt like to live with a loss like that. I could never have imagined in my wildest dreams that the actor who would bring him to life would be Peter Fonda.
Did Grandma love Lady as much as you do?
Did she take a ride on her?
Grandma loved her because I loved her. But she never took a ride on me.
Peter Fonda died.
I couldn't fix her in time. I have a grandson, Thomas.
That's all she
Who's got
even though he
Thomas the
died.
train. And Mr. Conductor sits up in the cab. You push Mr. Conductor down, and the train scoots forward. You push him down, scoots forward. I'd like to do this kind of film. I've always wanted to do a children's film. It satisfies the child in me.
Look at the signature, Billy. Burnett Stone. It's hard to believe Burnett could have ever looked that happy.
Oh, Burnett had a wonderful smile. And he loved railroading, too.
Billy Two Feathers, the casting director suggested Russell Means. And Billy Two Feathers was a character that Rick and I had created for Shining Time, but played by a different actor at that time. I did write into the story to make Billy's character very attuned to the troubles that were happening in the Indian Valley.
That's what Lily is.
Graham, you're P.T. Boomer. You left this valley a long time ago. Now I'm back.
I'm looking for Burnett Stone. Where's he?
Wherever he wants to be.
Being innocent like everyone else in this town won't work.
I'll find him. Yes, there is innocence here.
Don't mess with her.
P.T. Boomer, I just thought Doug Lennox was brilliant right from the get-go.
Doug Lennox died in 2015.
It was his idea to add a sort of vainness, vanity to his character, so that, for instance, in a scene where he's looking for Burnett Stone's address, looking at a pile of Shine Time, the local paper, and then he sees the newsboy coming along, and he's filing his nails. That was a sort of bit of schmushes that was totally Doug's idea.
She's in that mountain, isn't she?
That's really it.
Even if she were, she'd be no good to you now.
You were wrong, Burnett Stone. It's like you're always wrong.
Magic can make a man unhappy. Look what it's done to you. I'm after money, not magic. She's good for one thing.
She's good for scrap.
Go for
When we did the TV show, there was one situation which was, it was Britt's baby, and she called all the shots, and we go into a booth, and she would give you very simple directions, and she slow this down, pace this up, come in quicker here. And when we did the movie, which was not the TV show, it was live action, we were there performing, which was a big difference, and behaving, and wearing wardrobe, and staging scenes, and so forth.
It's a beautiful day. I mean, we're dying, but we're not.
No, we're out. But we are not down.
When I was told that the film needed to be substantially shorter, I don't think anybody there really understood how big this film was becoming, and all these wonderful actors all joining in to be in it.
Because it's an entirely different story than any of the Thomas the Tank Engine stories. This is a departure, but not from the reality of Thomas and what he's, or the magic, whatever the imagination is there. It's just a deeper look.
Well, lady, what are we to do? It all seemed so much easier when Tasha and I were children.
Of course, I realised that the film would be an enhancement and that I had a responsibility because the company had gone public, being vice chairman of the company.
Britt had partners in a company that were doing this with her, and as with most movies, there's a swarm of non-creative people giving you their opinions of the film. And the thing I love about Britt was, like all good directors, she didn't transmit any of her tension on the set of the film. The Britt that I worked with in the booth of the TV show was the same Britt that showed up every day for the film.
But I saw no reason whatsoever why I should have to cut the film, and it would turn at the heart of the movie, for me, would be pulled out of it because so many of the scenes tied in. When it was complete, it only added to this magic world of Thomas.
How come you don't live in the valley?
I don't like trains.
But the trains come to Muffle Mountain.
To the other side. This side, there's neither sight nor sound.
Are you sure you don't like trains, Grandpa?
I'm sure.
And I think that there's a part of me that what was difficult about the film in that way was that she thought she'd proven herself. And she didn't have to do that anymore. And have to kind of convince men of what she could do, what she was capable of. There did seem to be a bit of that when we made the film of Britt Allcroft having to go back to a place that she thought she'd earned her position. She'd earned the right to have that creative self-determinism about the film.
I'm gonna get my revenge for that stone.
He sounds all very explosive in the
You and
times.
They shouldn't have deleted those scenes either. Like Britt
You know
said,
what revenge sounds like?
those seem critical.
And Boomer had come out because this test showing had said that he was too scary. And my inspiration, you could say, for the character of Boomer and why it would work for children was based on the tradition of the British pantomime. There's always the baddie, but you know he's baddie, but you can hiss at him.
Yep.
Now, it's money that makes you happy.
Delete a scene.
Magic can make you unhappy. Now, don't you agree? I mean, look what it's done to you. Oh, who needs it? Bernadette. Not you. Definitely not me. I'll be back, Bernadette.
Does he seem scary to you?
No, not to me.
I found you.
Even when I was a bit
Now I'm
younger,
gonna
I saw
find
this
that
footage on YouTube.
And then Peter, because he was sad. Sometimes grown-ups just underestimate children's ability to take something in.
Now, Lily!